down here. This guy really does not need an introduction as the red Protoss player. It is SKMC. The boss toss. President toss.
A fan favorite for sure. People making a lot of noise for him. But I feel like they might even be favoring this guy down here in the bottom left, the Zerg player. Give it up for EG Jaedong.
An incredible start to his weekend here at the WCS Season 2 Finals. Let's see if he can continue through with it now, going into map number 2, or game number 2, should I say, against another Protoss player. One big advantage that Jaedong's had going into this is that his group was full of Protoss. He only had to really focus his practice in one direction.
Whereas they're probably playing more PvP. You know, just frankly, I think that's the case. Maybe Rain practiced a little bit more PvC because he knew he'd be playing against Jaedong, but in the case of MC, he may have thought, okay, I'm going to beat Wellmu and then I'm going to play Rain and beat him and be out. So I'm just going to play PvP. So that definitely could be something. I think a lot of players in this tournament have underprepared against Zerg.
I agree with that, and that could be one of Jaedong's biggest strengths to doing well in this tournament. People just aren't expecting many Zergs to go into the round of 8. There's only 2, Jaedong and Scarlet.
That's right.
And Jaedong looks in prime position to be able to advance to the round of 8, but let's see if SKMC can mess up his day.
Well, he's going to try his best to do so, and MC has messed up many a pro gamer's day, many a legend's day, as he is the premier legend in Starcraft 2 at the moment anyways. So we'll see how that goes. Looks like it's just going to be a normal Forge Fast expansion against just a normal pool into hatchery first.
I mean, MC is a player that, against Zerg players, will always go Forge every single game. Is there something you could highlight of the reasoning why he always goes Forge over Nexus? Like every single game, it's like 17, Forge, and then the Nexus is followed, compared to Protoss players that like to go Nexus first.
You know, I think it's just the safety aspect. If you put the Forge up before the Nexus, Zerglings literally never get in, ever. And if 3 Zerglings or more get into your base as a Protoss player, that's almost game ending in the hands of someone like Jaedong, who has the APM, who has the speed and skill to keep those Zerglings alive, scout everything, harass your economy, etc. So I think it's just MC giving a nod towards that danger and deciding that no matter what, he's not getting behind in that way.
All right, so I really want to bring up this point here. Artosis, the probe has escaped. There's a probe in the top left of the map here. He's going to go in and scout this base. If he doesn't reveal it, he may get an advantage through this. Jaedong now, does he see it? Huh? Okay, so he does see it. It is revealed. So Jaedong knows that there's a probe out there, active. Yeah,
it's almost surprising that MC let the hatchery see the probe. You know, if you can scout the third base, you basically know what's going on. And if you can keep that probe alive, we've all seen what a hidden pylon can do to Zerg early on.
Well, it is gone to park up on a mineral patch for now and is going to hide away for the time being by the looks of it all. Looks like he's now decided to go home. So we talked about MC being a very super aggressive player and Jaedong being the guy that's going to have to react a lot to what happens in this game. What kind of things can we see from MC as an aggressive player on this map?
Well, you know what? He has a lot of different options. You can open up with some sort of Phoenix play, and that can go into a Colossus push, an Immortal Colossus push. It can even go into a fast Warp Prism designed to force field the ramp. That's definitely a build that has some popularity here.
All right, we'll see which one MC does choose. As there is a pylon finishing in the main base. Might be the location for his tech. He does have the right amount of money now, more than enough money to throw down his tech. There seems to be the Stargate, and Jaedong with Nova slightly left. Not seen it yet. Very close, but a little bit too far.
I think he'll be seeing that pretty soon, but there is a Stalker coming out just in case these Overlords get a little bit too frisky and go too deep inside the base.
All right, behind that, Jaedong now getting Zergling speed nice and early, a little bit faster than usual. I think that really is adapting to who he's playing against.
Yeah.
Before, he always rushed to layup before Zergling speed, to go straight to the Hydralisk Den, to be able to set himself up for the mid-game, eliminating potential threats in the early stages. He's building 12 Zerglings now as he sees the Zealot and Stalker moving out as well.
Well, this shows the pure brilliance that Jaedong is, Apollo. He knows the difference between the players. MC is a player, you have to worry about him in the early to late mid-game, whereas Rain, that's a player that starts to get scary in the late mid-game, but really, in a longer game, is going to do better. So Jaedong is just kind of adapting himself, and oh my god.
Is he going to counterattack? It hasn't been seen. Neither of the players know about this. I think if Is Jaedong going to come back, or does he counterattack? I'm feeling counterattack, which is why the first thing I said was counterattack. It's open.
It is open, but I think he's going to put a probe there. He's about to have a sentry as well. Oh, this could be big. But
if those Zerglings get into the main. Don't
forget there's an Oracle on the way, Apollo. And with these few units, the Speedlings coming up, starting to surround these units. Some nice micro there by MC.
Jaedong's got to deal with this counter. Well, he's going to deal with his counterattack, but likewise, he needs to deal with an Oracle inside his main base. He's dealing with the Zealot Stalker, but I really don't think he's anticipating the Oracle. He comes in and immediately he's going to target down a Queen here. And I don't even know what happened to the counterattack Zerglings. They were on the third base. They haven't got into the mineral line.
They're just chilling there, and in fact come up to help surround these Stalkers. You should end up getting all the Stalkers, but in the meantime, we do have the Oracle dealing some reasonable damage.
The Queen is going to take out the Oracle here, but not before killing a couple of drones there. And now the sentry setup. I think that could have been a lot worse for MC.
Yeah, it definitely could have, Apollo. If he had run straight in with the Speedlings, there definitely could have been a lot of damage done at that main mineral line. So, kind of weird to see, but look at that. He's killed off quite a few drones at 9 and 2 Queens at the loss of just an Oracle and, well, I guess, you know, those few Gateway units as well.
Yeah, the Oracle and Overlord really surprised him there. Look at Jaedong. He never actually had Overlords in between the two bases, the two main bases. He never saw it coming. Never saw it coming, and that did hurt him a little bit. In the meanwhile, he did manage to kill a cannon building and a pylon on the third base, but not really enough.
Well, Paul, what do you think about this follow-up? He's adding 5 gateways, getting +1, and making a lot of Void Rays. This is pretty MCS.
This is MCS, and he's about to really slow Jaedong down even further than he has done by killing 9 drones and 2 Queens. For the first time, the Void Rays are here, but there are no Spore Crawlers. There are only Hydralisks now on the way.
Yeah, this game really looking a lot different from how we saw Jaedong play before. You know, he's had very little anti-air here, and in fact, he's going to have to run away from these couple of Queens. And there's more Hydras coming out too, so it's a good runaway, but he's dealing significant damage.
And remember that MC's the aggressive player here. Without the robotics facility, now only just coming down, there's a lot of gateways behind this, there's a lot of sentries there too. More so than you need to defend the third base.
You know, do you think he's going to go for an attack? He does have a lot of gateways.
I think so, Autosis. With +1 attack near completion, 3 or 4 Void Rays with his army as well.
Yeah.
Sure, he'll maybe expand behind this. I definitely feel he will, but he has what it takes to push out here and do a bit of damage, potentially.
Yeah, and you know, this is a very interesting strategy that MC is going for, mixing in so many Void Rays. But when you have that many sentries, Sentry Void Ray is actually a reasonable composition against a lot of Hydras.
Well, a counterattack launch there by Jaedong. Couldn't quite get into the natural. But we aren't seeing MC move out at all. He's staying on his third base, protecting it. Is he waiting for cannons to complete? Surely he has to go with the gateway count and the Void Ray count he has. Well,
you know what? I love the move that we're seeing right here, Apollo. Coming over with this many Void Rays and a Mothership Core with a recall and a Time Warp. He can get in here, and if the Hydras aren't right there, he would do a lot of damage. Now, unfortunately for MC, the Hydras are right there, so he's going to have to turn around, but the threat of moves like this is going to keep Jaedong very defensive.
Oh, almost picked off the Mothership Core there. Did quite just get away back to the natural.
Yeah.
But MC, I mean, what do you think of his build here with adding on a lot of gateways, a lot of ground units, but only really delaying his tech until now? Robotics Bay only just now finishing up, which is very late compared to, let's say, Rain, who went very, very early with the robotics facility.
It's a very weird build, but MC can make anything work at all. He could probably go carriers and make that work. But right now, Jaedong actually going for a Nidus Worm. Oh my god, he's going to be popping out a lot of Queens and Hydras here. Those Void Rays are going to be almost worthless, but there are a lot of sentries.
To deal with it there before this begins? Does MC have what it takes?
I think he does. If he hits his force fields right, throws down a Nexus Cannon, which he does have enough energy for, he should be able to hold this off with 7 gateways behind.
All right, well, here come the Hydralisks and the Zerglings. There's no cannons on the left-hand side. The Mothership Core, I'm not sure where it is. I think it's still there, but it doesn't. Oh, it does have one photon overcharge.
I don't know how much I like those force fields. He's way out in a huge arced area, and that is a lot of Hydras with a lot of surface area. He does have to pull back for now, but not as many force fields left over.
Look at the Queens. A couple of Queens coming in there, transfusing where they can. The Nexus now being targeted down here. Jaedong, oh, he's targeting down the Nexus. As MC has to get in there.
Well, that Colossus is starting to deal a lot of damage. In fact, the unit's being taken out so quickly for Zerg here. It looks like MC may be able to just hold, but those Queens tanking beautifully.
Tanking beautifully. MC continuing to hold on for now. Jaedong's forces are running thin. Extra units are coming in here, but the boss toss With the Colossus to the back here, still holding on with a couple of new reinforcements, which should be coming in momentarily as the warp gates now turn on again. He's holding.
He is, in fact, holding, but let's not forget, he lost basically all of his Void Rays except for one, and then most of his sentries, so the attack still did at least some damage. It's not like Jaedong's dead now that he did that attack and it didn't kill the Nexus.
Yeah, he doesn't have a super high drone count, and he's now just adding on a couple of extra ones. He was down at 66, which isn't really the optimal drone count for the income he could have now spread across these bases.
Yeah.
But one big point is the Spire is on its way again.
Do you think it's going to be Mutas? Yes. I have to say I think that this is going to be Mutalisks.
I agree. With Void Rays and Colossus together, with minimal ground units overall to deal with air, and Void Rays are not the best against Mutalisks either. When the amount of gas he's got backed up here, this makes for a very powerful switch.
He's keeping MC pretty busy, and he doesn't really have the best anti-Muta army. He's sure he has +2 attack on the way, and he has Blink done already. But on a map like this, the mobility of the Mutalisk is going to force MC to either super turtle or go into a base trade.
Jaedong trying counterattacks every other minute here, trying to get into that natural with those Zerglings not being allowed to. And MC now making a Warp Prism, Autosis.
Well,
he's getting his +2 attack on the way. He may feel this is his time.
Yes, I think you're completely right there, Apollo. He is going to be moving out, and 18 Mutas on the way. Now, does Jaedong take this group of units and try to engage the army, or does he just go ahead into a base trade?
I think he goes base trade here. If he keeps on fighting against these units with the reinforcements that will continue to come through, and they will continue to come, and at the same time MC dealing damage to the economy of Jaedong, I think this is a counterattack.
He's got to be careful. He doesn't want to rally out any Mutalisks into that army. Okay, very good job pulling them back. You know, if he can get enough Mutas out, he could get to that critical mass that wins base trades. In the meantime, the unit's running around. You're right, Apollo. It looks like we're going to see these two players just go all out and try to kill each other.
All right, well, this is going to be an interesting turn to the end. Oh, the recall happens from MC. He goes back to defend. What Jaedong was moving out to do. He goes right to his main base.
Well, that tells us that MC is probably just going to make a lot more units, maybe max out completely, and then move out again.
Yeah, he's going to play this very defensive from here. With Blink done too, he's going to have the mobility against these Mutalisks.
Yeah, and in fact, he's getting a Templar Archive, so he wants to get the type of army that you just literally can't kill with Mutalisks. Maybe some Archons, some Psystorm, a bunch of Blink Stalkers, good upgrades.
Nice reactions there from MC. Blinks forward, gets one Mutalisk down, and already defending his third base. I think oh, that's actually a nice pick off there. One Colossus.
Very nice.
The decision to pull back and recall instead of continue forward from MC could have been game-winning here. If he sets himself up to deal with Zerglings and Mutalisks.
Yeah, he's getting the right type of units. He's even getting that +3 attack, which is going to be crucial in the battles to come. And Jaedong is continuing on Mutas, so he's going to have to get something done with these Mutalisks.
And so far, nothing from Jaedong. He spent a lot of money on this. They're not going to be that good in the overall fight if MC's allowed to build up an army to deal with it. So he needs to either slow his opponent down, deal some damage somewhere, but nothing so far. And with +3 attack, Storm, cannons being thrown down everywhere. And that really tells us that MC is going to move out soon.
Yes.
Absolutely going to move out soon.
Psystorm and Mass Cannon should be able to hold on against these Mutas, for now at least. But let's not forget, Jaedong's making a lot of Spine Crawlers back at home, and he's taking basically the whole map for more gas. He's going to have a lot of Mutas, Apollo. A lot of Mutas.
Well, he's at 34.
That's a lot.
Already at 34, and a second spy coming in, +1 attack about to be done. If MC builds an army good enough, what he thinks is good enough, in reality, as we can see both sides of the armies building up, is it good enough?
Well,
with +3 attack, Storm, the amount of Stalkers he has.
Well, you know what it can do is make the Mutas never engage if he has enough Psystorms with his Stalkers and he's quick enough. What it can't do is actually kill the Mutas if he flies away, though.
I really like this from Jaedong coming in there, picking up a lot of Stalkers here. Yep. But his Muta count's actually gone down. I mean, it's 24 now. It was at 34 last time I checked in. That's 10 that have disappeared now, so maybe that wasn't the best of trades. But with the amount of income that Jaedong has across all these bases, maybe it's efficient enough for him to make these trades across MC, who's only on 3 bases, remember?
You know, he does have about twice the gas income. He's going to have even more as he's expanded over onto MC's side of the map. But MC has decided it is time to move out, and that is a scary army.
All right, there is nothing on that mothership called a recall. This is it. This is how this game seems to look like it's going to shape up to end. The Warp Prism escapes as well there against the Hydralist. MC's +3 is now done. 3 Mutalisks go down, Autosis.
This is pretty scary right now. A little bit wasteful with some of these mutas. And MC moving forward now. He has a lot of Psy Storms in this army. That army is going to be so hard to kill. He's really counting these Spine Crawlers to slow him down. In the meantime, we do have Jaedong going with a counterattack back into the third base.
Oh, that's a lot of cannons. He's targeting down the pylons. One set get turned off. The second set get turned off. And the Mutalisk doing damage along Zerglings there. Picking up a couple of Stalkers. One Storm goes down.
And the Muta's actually pummeling through this third base area, but they have eaten some storms, they have taken some additional damage. And is he actually killing MC's base quick enough?
Well, I'm not sure, because right now Jaedong seems to be like, all right, I'm going to kill the third, I'm going to really slow down his income, hurt him, and then I'm going to come back with everything together maybe. With 10 more Mutalists in the production, there's 33 out. 43 Mutalists he'd go up to now, with protection of spines across his external bases as well.
He's making his spines all over the place. He's just trying to slow down these attacks. And look at that, with the Archons in there, with more and more cannons, it's hard for these mutas to really break through.
All right, well, Jaedong's going to poke in here. Does he want to continue through? There's a high tempo without Storm there. It's not got Storm. It will get picked off. So does this pylon. Another pylon bringing down two of the cannons. Another one goes down too.
And he's got MC supply blocked as well. Let's not forget that, Apollo. A lot of Spine Crawlers still going up. This is really close right now. It's hard to say who's going to end up winning this.
I don't know. The Templar Archives is down. Gateways being turned off. Pylons. Eventually, Jaedong will have to go back to meet this army, but when does he choose to do so? MC still has a higher army supply, 111 to 95.
He certainly does, but he cannot refill it either. It's going to be easier for Jaedong to make a few more units, and he is continuing to do so. Now it looks like the mutas are going back.
All right, this is it, man. This is when it seems like he's going to go back here. The Stargate goes down, an extra gateway or two. A recall.
Oh!
Is this a right? Is this?
No, this is wrong. This is where, if the mutas actually came back,
yeah, they see this. And now Jaedong's like, all right. He's cut up his army in half. It may be in trouble here.
He can definitely kill all those Stalkers with what he has. He has 44 mutas with at least +2 attack. He actually has +2 attack, 1 armor. He definitely can fly over here and kill off all those Stalkers.
God, Jaedong, the flying V, once again is about to go in there. The Stalkers aren't equipped. MC's trying to get across the other side of the map. He's trying to get to his other anti-air. Oh, Jaedong dealing so much damage to these Stalkers.
And realistically, this was the game ender, I think. Apollo, he's doing the magic box, spreading out these mutas. Huge amount of Psy Storms all over the place, but there are just too many Mutalists.